What's going on, everybody? Brandon Charleston here, yet with another quick tutorial. I'm going to show you a really easy, well I think easy, quick n8n tutorial where you can pull basically weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, any sort of frequency you want analytics from your Instantly campaigns. So that way you can be notified right in Slack or really any application that you want in order to stay in tune with what your sending capacity and things like that. And so hopefully you get good value out of this, and I'm definitely going to share it. So you can just download it right from the description below and take and run with it. So let's go ahead and dive in. So this is a very simple workflow. Didn't take too long to put together, but as you know, Instantly has been really expanding on their API. So they're having all sorts of great endpoints, which I'm working on an agent. Stay tuned for that. Basically, where you can just type in any sort of prompt, and then I'm going to basically put all the tools or all the endpoints tied with that. So you can essentially have a super agent, right? But this one is more of a scheduled recurring basis. So that way, even for you or for your clients that you serve, if they request it, of course, careful about reporting because it could either annoy you. Biggest thing about reporting is obviously you want to stay in tune, but you also want to make sure that it's going to be valuable, right? And so this one, you can basically do one request, which is just to get the campaign analytics, and we're going to dive in to show you just how much data you can get to be able to analyze, and make good business decisions. And so, like with any workflow, you have triggers and actions. With the trigger here, it's going to be a scheduled trigger, unless you want to manually do it or have some sort of other trigger. But in this case, it's going to be schedule. So what you want to do is just decide how frequent you want to do that. So that could be once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a day. Shoot, you can go once a minute, although that'd be kind of crazy. But these are essentially scheduled frequencies, the intervals, right? And so just for this example, we're just doing once a week. And so you can do 1 week between triggers. I went ahead and did Friday at 9 a.m. One thing you'll also want to know is if you go to settings here, you should be able to have your environment to where it's the default time zone of what you have here, right? So default time zone right there. So I actually need to change this because I am not in Europe. So I'm going to change this over to America Denver because I'm in Mountain Time currently. So yeah, you want to make sure that your time zone is aligned with exactly the scheduled interval. So this will be scheduled, and then what you'll do is move on to the next node, which in this case I did an edit or set node. This is one of my favorite nodes because it keeps things clean, neat, and you can set specific variables based on how data comes in and out. So this is a very powerful node. But what this allows you to do is just basically set. I could change this to 7 or 14 or even 30. But we'll keep it at 14 just because I had that there. And then you can basically test it, and then you're creating a key value, which is 14. And I'll show you here why that is important, because if you ever want to replicate this for clients that you serve, or even for you, or if you're like, hey, you know what, every week is too much, or 14 days, like we need to have really more frequent, right? You'll be able to adjust that very easily without having to do a whole lot of other adjustments. And so then you go into here, and then we're just doing a simple GET request. So this is an HTTP API call to Instantly's endpoint, which is analytics here. And then what I like to do, just to make sure you're keeping your authentications and your credentials neat and tidy, you'll just put the credential type. This is a header authorization, and then I went ahead and put our API token in there. And so one of the things that we did is we'll just do a quick expression here. And what this is doing, if you'll notice, this is referring to the days back variable. So this is actually going to be the start date because we're going, in this case, 14 days back. And then the end date is going to be now, right? So it's always going to be now, and then we're formatting it in the way that the API wants to have it formatted, which is the year, month, and then day. It's interesting that it's LL. But anyway, in America, we usually say MM. But for context, this is the year, month, and day, right? And so if I were to change the previous one where days back was 7, it's going to count back via JavaScript here 7 days. So that way that interval is aligned, and so you can just replicate and scale it as you see fit. And so with that, you'll just go into, you'll do the GET request, and then obviously you'll get some data here, which you can pin and then move on to the next one. And then with this one, we did a code node. The code node is legit. I mean, it is. I use it all the time. Thanks to Grok and ChatGPT and Claude and all the things, you can just spit out some good code, which basically, you can say you want to do this with that, and you don't really need to do a whole lot of manual coding. Just explain what you're doing, n8n, and then spit out the JavaScript, and with enough tries and everything, you'll figure it out. You'll get the output you want. What this does, though, this code is summarizing all of these campaigns. So this example is just one, but if I were to have, say, pages and pages of analytics, and by the way, this is also set up, this is where it gets really kind of crazy, but on the pagination, and this is very powerful with n8n too, because a lot of times if you're doing an n8n any API request, you're gonna get pages, right? And so being able to do pagination right here took a little bit of tweaking, but basically don't let the red fool you. It works. Basically, it's going to do one request. On the first request, it's going to ignore this. And then on the following and sequential ones, there's going to be a starting after requirement there, in which we are going to get back as a result of the response. And then the complete expression means that this is true there. Where if this is true, it's going to go back. Whereas if this is false, it doesn't do any more pagination. So if the starting after exists, then basically it's going to stop, right? Or if it doesn't exist, excuse me. So what this is doing is it's paginating. So if you are running some serious campaign and some serious volume, it may take a little bit. So this API request, there's sometimes it'll take you just got to wait on it, right? Because it's paginating. But this code request is going to automatically summarize all of the requests within that time period. And then it's going to formulate total analytics, whatever that might look like on the back end. And then simply from here, I like this node a lot because, when you're doing executions, you want to be able to find easily any sort of executions that you want to maybe tweak a little bit or improve on, or it's easy to identify the error ones, but because it shows, as an error. But essentially, what you'll want to do is you have the ability to log and populate in here. So if I were to go here, it's going to show up as highlighted data. And then if I were to go to highlighted data and I just said timestamp, it's not going to populate on this one because I just set it up. And then I have other clients with instances where this is a recurring thing. So, but this allows you to save highlighted data and be able to filter through the executions. So moving forward, basically this is all the data right here. And so we are going to send a notification to our Slack workspace. So I can notify my clients of, what the haps is, right? What kind of volume and opportunities they have. And so in here, we have what you call blocks. So the blocks scripting is a really powerful way to customize and be able to send really beautiful looking notifications to your clients. They'll appreciate that. So you can just tell them you created it. You found somebody on the internet to create it. So that said, this is going to summarize it, and then it's going to send it in a beautiful Slack notification, as you can see here. And then from there, that's pretty much it. And so all you got to do is just turn it on, and you're rolling. So I set it up pretty simply here, so that way you can just edit the number of days, so that way you don't have to be messing with expressions and things like that. But I put in here a note of how to use. Basically, set your frequencies, set your number of days, get your API key, add yourself, or you're going to want to you're going to want to set up your Slack bot. So if you haven't already done that, you may want to check the API docs. It's pretty easy to do, but of course reach out if you're running into some troubles with that, and we'll go from there. But the one last thing you will need to do is actually invite whatever bot you made in your your Slack bot your Slack workspace, you need to invite the bot to the channel. And so what you'll do is just type in /invite and then select the bot, which hopefully exists by now. You'll just add them, and then that's it. So, I mean, that's all you got to do. So, that said, I hope this was quick and painless, and I hope you didn't fall asleep or go cross-eyed on me. You know, that's my intent here, is to have AI automation and all these coding stuff, be as everyday Joe or Jane as easy as possible to digest, because some of this stuff could obviously get boring, or confusing. And so it is my intent here to show you very simple workflows that are very effective and helpful. So that said, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.